man. Oh goodness. Hello, you guys. Hi. Welcome to Life Discussions with Dr. Jefferson. And we're Susanna and I are gonna have this conversation with you guys today. We're gonna talk about what trauma looks like because trauma can look a lot of different ways. And recently, like literally yesterday, I aired a show and we talked about this young lady who is 18 years old. And upon her turning 18, she married her 46-year-old godfather, the man who was responsible for raising her. So one could say stepfather slash godfather. And he was in a relationship with her mother. We aired that story yesterday and it was just a lot, right? It was a lot to take in. But we're going to talk about some more intimate issues around that. But I'm also going to show you guys another photo and we're going to talk about what this photo indicates as to what he's currently doing in his relationship with these other children while they are married, right? So but yeah, we're going to talk about that cycle. Give me a second so I can play this pre-show and we'll jump right into it because you guys know my disclaimers and all that good stuff, fair use policy and all that stuff is in that pre-show. So I'll see you guys back in about 3 minutes after the show's over. So hi you guys, welcome back. I'm Dr. Jefferson and this is Susanna. And Susanna is a clinical social worker licensed here in the state of Georgia. And she practices here in the state of Georgia. And we're gonna have a pretty comprehensive conversation about abuse. And what sexual abuse and trauma look like, and kind of how you can signify in one's body language, tonality, reflection, things like that, how we can signify trauma and the pain, right, from the affliction of various types of abuse actually. This is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I do want you guys to keep that in mind as we air this show today. So I want you guys to think about what domestic abuse looks like, domestic terrorism look like, because I'm going to talk a little bit about that too, because this could be a cycle. And it could be predatory towards her family system because we never know, right?
Mm-hmm.
We watched some content yesterday, but we're going to replay the content from yesterday, but we're also going to bring up some photos and kind of talk about some of the things that the photos indicate. Um, but so I'll let Susanna go ahead and introduce herself to you guys as you're coming in. Don't forget to say hi. Don't forget
Mm-hmm.
to hit the like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you guys are here for the first time, just know that Life Discussions with Dr. Jefferson is an accountability channel where we have the conversations that are typically difficult to kind of gauge, the elephants in the room, if you will. And we navigate those conversations from a clinical perspective, but also from a real life perspective. And we teach you guys tips, tricks, and um, the tools that you need as a person who is a layperson in the community to try to advocate for the emotional and mental health of other people, but also for yourself. And then a lot of ways for you to identify what's going on with you and other people around you, and the best way for you to be of assistance. So go ahead, Susanna. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome, Dr. J. It's always good to be on with you. I'm having these discussions. So I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and kind of what that means is I'm a therapist. I have a private practice called Recovery and Consulting through a different lens, and I see families, correct. I see couples. I see individual. I treat individuals who also are looking for substance abuse counseling. And I will work with programs if you're willing to get your program up and going and putting in some, some structure in your program. I will work with you around that. I also work because I am committed to wanting us as therapists to be the best therapists we can. I supervise individuals who are interested in being licensed as a social worker, as a licensed practitioner, counselor, anybody who wants to be a therapist. I offer clinical supervision, meaning I kind of teach you to understand what this work is about. So, it's what's my, I can't remember my website. You probably know it better than I do. It's ssrecovery.org.
Recovery.org.
ssrecovery.org. If you're interested in finding out what I do, feel free to go up and look and give me a call.
Hey, Keith.
I'm here in Atlanta. My specialty is addiction and trauma. So there you go.
And you know what? Let me tell you, you guys, for those watching, if you guys are ever curious about things you need to keep yourself congruent and ways for you to heal and find out whether or not healing is something that you even need to be pursuing, I think that this is one of those shows where you can kind of get a little bit of background at the same time as kind of navigating the juicy tidbits of trending topics. I feel like
Mhm.
you guys can get all of that here. Susanna's amazing, and she's an amazing supervisor. And I want to say that those clinicians that watch this show, if you guys are looking for a supervisor or you're looking for clinical competency training, definitely find your way to clinicalcompetency.org and sign up for some courses. So today we're going to talk to this. Okay. For those of you who were in on either the end of or the beginning of or the entire show from yesterday, you know how I feel about this. You guys already know how I feel about this. Like, literally, this is a man and his daughter. One would look at this picture and say, "Oh, look at them. That's so cute. That's him and his daughter, right?" You would. And then when you see something like, "Oh, that's him and his daughter today."
And he isn't giving her away.
Right. He's not giving her away. He's the groom. So now you've married the young lady that you were responsible for raising as your daughter while you were in a relationship with her mother. Not only that, the bigger issue here, seeing how the child that you made with your daughter, essentially, is at this point, she's now 18. Your daughter's 18, your daughter/wife, she's 18, and your child with her is now almost 3 years old. So you made a child with her when she was 15. She was pregnant at 16 and had to leave her family of origin's house and move in with you, only to find that now she needs to get a job, she needs to start working, and all of this stuff. So here you are on a photo with her at the same age as
me and my husband ain't going nowhere. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't give two fucks at that. Not even one. About y'all opinions. Y'all on here talking about, oh, I'm just stating my opinion. I'm just stating my opinion. I'm just stating. It don't mean shit to us. So why the fuck waste your time and energy and your motherfucking time out of the day and your life to sit up here and keep on saying it? That's your opinion. We don't care.
So, a couple of things, right? Trauma can look a lot of different ways. And I just feel like sometimes we don't even know we're traumatized until we sit with it, right? Says, I watched the replay in the video of her mother. I think this girl never had a chance, to be honest. Oh yeah, I agree with that. We're gonna talk about that. Was that the mom? No, that's her. That's the girl. That's the girl. That's the baby in the very beginning of the video. She's now 18 and she's married the man who raised her as his daughter. And he was officially in a relationship with her mother at that time. And now they have a child together. And their child was the child at their wedding on this photo in the little bassinet thingy. That's their child, that little kid right there. That's their daughter. She's now 18, so he's now legalized that he got married. So I want you to hear from her mouth some of this. And the thing is, I think there are just so many levels. I think there are so many levels here. I'm not even sure if it is his biological daughter or not. But what I will say is this. Her mother was into substance abuse culture, and we kind of know what that comes with. So I would be interested to know if he is really the biological father, because I really don't know. Because when we're looking at these other children in the picture, they all look like him. Do they not look like him to you guys and her? They all look alike. And the facial expressions on the other girls' faces tell us that there is potentially some inappropriate touching going on here. There's something inappropriate going on. All these children look really uncomfortable. They really do. Well, yeah, technically she's the stepdaughter, but we don't know if that's her biological, right? So Jenny, that's the thing. We don't know if that's her biological father or not, because with substance abuse culture, given the fact that the mom was on drugs and stuff, who knows if this is really the dad of her or not. And so for me, that would be everything. Like, you talk about the fact that your mom wasn't there, she was a druggie and all this stuff. That would be even more of an indicator as to why I wouldn't want to sleep with somebody, have sex with somebody and have a child with somebody and marry somebody that used to fuck my mother when I was a kid, before I was old enough to speak. Because I don't know how long they were doing that. Like, to me, it's just...
So he's been around for about 16 years. Because in the picture, she's about 2.
Potentially.
1.5, 2.
Yeah.
So he's been around technically for close to 16 years.
Yeah, they're American. They're from Florida. I'm about to play that. Again, you're going to hear all of her, everything she got to say. Yeah, he has. So he's had sex with her. He got her pregnant, and she was pregnant at 16 and had to move out. And he made her get a job on top of that. Like, there are so many levels.
At the end of the day, everything is done. We're legally motherfucking married. I'm 18. I'm grown now. Talking about, oh, you just a baby. I'm 18, bitches. I moved out my mama's house when I was 16. 16. Fucking 16. What did I do? Get a job. Pregnant and all, working. Pregnant. Fucking working. At 16 with no motherfucking body. I ain't had nobody. My mama was a druggie. Nobody. Never had nobody. I'm not saying this to show, to have no sympathy or looking for sympathy. Nobody sympathizing with me. This is not what it's for. I'm just letting y'all know that I don't give a fuck about y'all opinions. It don't mean shit to me. It don't, because at the end of the day, everybody have a life to live. Okay, so what? He's 46, not 50. Thank you. He's 46. Half of y'all motherfucking mammies he probably fucked half of y'all motherfucking peoples. Probably fucked your mammies. And you got y'all daddies mad, and some of y'all motherfuckers mad at him because he on his shit and we both on our shit. And the fuck? Y'all just mad because I'm happy. Deja always gonna be happy. No, y'all hoes thought that I wasn't never gonna be shit because of my past. That's what the fuck y'all thought, and I proved y'all wrong. That's why y'all hoes really mad. But at the end of the day, that shit ain't even worth it, because at the end of the day, I'ma do me. We gonna do us. I'ma continue wear this motherfucking rock on my finger, and I don't give a fuck what a bitch gotta say.
So that's her identity. That means somebody loves her. He loves her if he gives her a ring. Because nobody else gave her anything else. Ever. Okay.
It's just... It's all too much. Like, for me, for you, what stands out? What stands out with other than kind of like the surface stuff that we can see? Okay, this is trauma. We can see her response is more reactive than process, and coordinated response. Like, what stands out for you? Because like, it's a lot.
Yeah,
and you're right, Nate.
There's a lot of delayed. What do I want to say? I mean, I want to say when I'm listening to her, I'm hearing a little 9, 10-year-old talking, trying to be grown up-ish talking. And it's interesting because she said, I got put out. I was 16 having a baby and had nobody. So where was he? Like, he's sitting in the car right there and you're saying, well, I had nobody, but you were having a baby for him. So what is she trying to say? I'm not sure. It'd be interesting to have conversations with her. But I saw a girl who's like did some really developmental delay in terms of her mental process. This is a kid. And that's how abuse works. Whenever the abuse starts, that's where you stop growing. Whatever that age is, you kind of stop growing from there. So even if you're 25, you are really 9, 10, if that's when you abuse that, because that's where that's where you stop developing and you get arrested in terms of being able to think like your age. So I'm looking at this girl, regardless she's 18, this is a little kid, a real young girl who actually is talking about not having anybody in her life, even though she's got somebody in her life, pregnant, have a baby, but I'm not sure. I think she's telling us he might be available but unavailable. What does this mean? A ring? I have a ring. Is that makes him available? I don't know. Did he put her up to this phone call? I mean, how
And
did this get
that's
started?
exactly what stood up for that's what stood out for me the most. And Shannon, you're spot on. You kind of like everything that I was thinking. And I wanted to invite Shannon. I'm gonna post the link so you can come up. If you have the space to do so, to come on the show and share your perspective live, since you're also a clinician. Just know anybody else that comes on the show as well, you guys do have to have cam up, because I do know that there are like a trillion trolls out there.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not getting done that way again. We've had that experience. We have moved on in life,
Mm-hmm.
leveled up, if you will. But so,
She was
Jenny,
groomed. She's right. And I'm not sure people understand what it means to be groomed, because the perpetrator trains you to take him or her and woman do molest. I'm sorry,
yes,
it's a fact, but we're talking about him. They train you to feel comfortable around them, to trust them, to recognize that they are the only one that's available there for you, long before they do any of the inappropriate behaviors. So he had her since she was 1.5, 2. So he's been grooming her to believe that he is okay and whatever he will do is okay. And she's still living that today. Everything that he does is okay.
and see the main issue. Jenny, you had a point. I'm going to go back to your previous comment in just a sec. Hey,
Hey,
official herbal
come
therapist, how are
on.
you? But so Jenny made the point earlier, about she could be so damaged, could she be so damaged that she doesn't see any problem with this? And the reality is, of course, because grooming is a very calculated process. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk a little bit about how I was kind of drawn into furthering this conversation today, because I do specialize in treating personality disorder, severe trauma,
Mm-hmm.
severe mental illness. And I was having a session with one of my clients today who is a self identified perpetrator of sexual inappropriate behavior with young women. And the thing is, well, I should say young girls. And the thing is, one of the things that he said to me in one of our sessions, and it was quite interesting to me, is that, you know, there are levels, basically, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there are almost like rules of the game in that culture, like we have understood substance abuse culture to indicate certain things or to include certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And we've learned about substance abuse culture from our clients, because you guys remain the expert in your experiences in life, and we're only the experts in the process. But in navigating that part with him, and navigating the way that he, you know, relates to what sexual abuse is or isn't, as a person who's done this,
Mm-hmm.
it was interesting to me to sit there and sit through his explanation of how he sees the process of abuse, and how he can make sense for him, right? How he can make it
Yeah.
something that isn't necessarily wrong. And if he, as the offender, can make things right for the situation, if he's
Mm-hmm.
playing by the rules of the game, so to speak, the rules of the culture,
Mm-hmm.
then definitely when he's there to groom that victim, there are levels to it. And it does make sense for them, because they end up over time feeling like they have a need to be completely invested in that particular offender, that abuser, because this thing is the game of life for them. So it's
Mm-hmm.
something that they're constantly engaged in, very much like you guys wake up every day and you have a routine in which you know, go through every single day. You might get up, brush your teeth first, shower next, right? So they have a process as to, and it's, you know, it's a process in which they approach appropriate their behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
And they approach that process in a certain way. So as long as it's not off kilter, their process, their rules, their perceptions, their world remains intact, and they have a certain level of respect for even one another. What was interesting to me is that for this particular consumer and for so many others, even when men are sexually molesting their own children, because a lot of people like to draw the line of delineation in conversation when we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about the ethics and morality of it all, very
Mm-hmm.
much like one of you asked earlier. One of you asked the question about, is this her biological father, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they don't believe in that. They don't draw a line of delineation there.
Right.
It's about the role. It's about the role. So if you're an abuser, you can have sex with your daughter, you can have sex with your stepdaughter, you can have sex with your goddaughter, granddaughter, as long as you follow this line. You know what I mean? These rules to the
Mm-hmm.
T. And for them, what I understand to be true across the board, for them, they're not supposed to be there in the aftermath once they are of age. So, yeah, they may start abusing them at a young age, but they're not going to continue to stay there and then seek marriage at the end of all of this, because they're not there for what happens when that person, their intrapsyche, wakes up and realizes the extent of the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I was compelled to come back and do this show from a different lens, just to identify where the trauma lies, what the process looks like, and what are the different levels for
Mm-hmm.
not only the victim, but the abuser, because he, as an offender, is standing back there. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Like, yeah, tell him, babe. And for Jenny, for your other comment, the ring isn't on the wrong hand. It's just that it's, you know
It's a
how the
camera.
mirrors you. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what hand does this look like to you guys? Is this my left or my right? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So because it's a mirror, your left will be on your right and your right will be on your left, but she was facing us, so it's
the
a spot.
opposite.
Yeah.
So she said, "Where is mom and bio dad? I can't figure out how to come on the live. I'm sorry." Okay, if you click the link that I shared, the Facebook link, you should be able to StreamYard should open up a separate browser if you're on your phone. And you just basically type your name in there, like sign in with your Google account, and then hit the thing to join your computer and stuff. I mean, your camera, and that's pretty much it. It'll bring you into the background.
But the thing about
Yeah.
the perpetrator is that he will attempt to groom everybody he comes in contact with. Because what you have to see is that what he was doing or is doing is okay.
Yeah.
So, his intent is always to probably groom you, not meaning you, but whoever he's dealing with. Because in his mind, he's always looking for a victim.
Because if
He's
we're
always,
if we're looking at the pictures, like, you guys take a look at these photos.
mm-hmm.
If you're looking at the photos from the wedding, now this is their child together in the very front in the little wagon
Mm-hmm.
thing. If we're looking at these kids in the back, if you look at the facial gestures, body language, if you're looking at everything, what it tells you is that these kids feel extremely uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But there is a possibility, and for me, if I am that woman and I'm 18 and I'm living my best life and I'm trying to prove to the rest of the haters that I'm going to be something, right? Whatever. Then all in all, I'm still watchful for what's right there in front of me. Like, I'm still because I realize that you've been grooming. I realize that you've been touching me. We've been having sex since before I was a teenager. So I would be watching those children coming up behind me that are family members of mine, right? Filial matches of mine, even just children in general around you, because I would know that this is obviously your appetite. However, what you have to also understand, the mind of the abuser or the offender is to groom a woman in a way, or a young man in a way, that they think that they are a unique case. So that answers the question of somebody that said, how, why is it that she doesn't see anything wrong with this? And Shannon asked a question about where is the mom and the bio dad. We don't know for sure that this isn't her biological father, considering the background that she gave us. I would want to see a DNA test, even if we said, okay, this is bio dad. So as a culture of people, I think that we have to be very transparent, and we have to be very abrupt and candid about the fact that it's not uncommon for men to divest, right? And leave the picture and do something totally different. Oh, and the official urban therapist said if you're on your phone, make sure you close the Facebook browser if you join from there. If you figure it out, Shannon. But
yeah, but the thing about the abuser, right? Because the very first picture you showed, he was already holding her as a little baby.
Yep.
So we know that's probably when he started grooming her into getting her into the place where she believes that having sexual intercourse of some kind with him is okay. This is normal.
Me and my husband ain't going nowhere.
So she's talking about this picture. This is his picture. This is a picture of him holding her
when she was a little baby.
Yeah. So this is his wife and him when his wife was a baby. So, and I know that you guys heard my comments yesterday. I'm like, okay, so what do they have? A then and now collage at their home? Like, oh, look at us. This is when I was a baby. Me and my husband. Oh, this is us. This is us now that I'm 18. Like, I think that it's disgusting, to be honest. But
and probably for her, that's a really cute picture, because for her, he's probably been telling her, because this is about 16 years, look how much I love you. Look how much you matter. I took care of you. This is how they start to say stuff. I take care of you. I've always loved you. Look at your hair. How pretty you look. Your mom was on drugs. Who took care of you? I did. He started to give her sort of confidence that he is it. And everything that he does is because he loves her, or she made him do it because she wanted it.
But also another thing that stands out is this, okay? For them to say that she is a baby, right? And in this picture, she's a baby. And we looked at the pictures of the other young children that were around him. Look at the facial expression. She says her mom was a druggie, whatever. However, look at her hair. Her hair is kept. Look at her clothes. She's dressed in this photo appropriately, apparently, but her facial expression, there is something about this disposition and body language. If we're analyzing it appropriately from a forensic standpoint, there is still something going on, and it's possible that he was already touching her inappropriately then.
It started pretty early.
Yeah.
So it would make sense why she isn't, 16 years later, cussing everybody else out for telling her, girl, what this man has been doing to you is not okay.
Right, Karen.
Because she got worse and worse in terms of how she called us, that she's responding. She called you the H word, she called you bitch.
We're all that. And that's okay. You can call me whatever you want, sweetheart. But when you see this and you have time to calm down and bring yourself back down to level and really allow this stuff to sit with you. And to be honest with you, I feel like many times this happens in society and we just ignore it. We turn a blind eye because it's not our business, so to speak. But I feel like she's got people in her life that obviously have told her, you know what, this isn't right. This is disgusting. I feel a certain way about this. All of that. But I feel like, maybe she feels like this is okay because this is a person that she's learned to trust above everyone else, because when she needed the most help, people left her out there and hanging to dry because they didn't realize that, maybe her sexual promiscuity was due to sexual abuse history.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, what are you guys' thoughts? What do you guys think about this? Do you feel like have any of you asked this question? Can she really be in love with this man? Even though he was her abuser, because literally he was her abuser.
She'll probably tell you yes. And she probably thinks she feels that, and she probably do.
Stockholm
Because he is not
syndrome.
perceived as a bad person to
Yeah.
her. He's been her life. He's
Mm-hmm.
taken care of her, from what we can tell. I've given her what she wanted, as we can tell. So yes, she loves him, and he's conditioned her to believe that that's just how you love somebody.
So what happens when she wakes up?
Well, hopefully, when she wakes up, she's in a therapist chair who's helping guide her to wake up, because she may never wake up unless he has moved from more than just sexual abuse to maybe physical abuse, and there begins to be scars. Because I think then people respond, but people might respond to that even more.
So you don't think that it's physical abuse already?
Probably.
Because the one thing that stood out for me is
Mhm.
her looking to him for approval during
Oh,
her recording this video. And the thing is, one thing that is consistent across the board when you see situations where
mhm.
relative caregivers are the abuser, they use physical discipline as
Mhm.
domestic discipline in those
Mhm.
situations so that they can correct you, but they act as if you are asking for it if you're acting out. So when she says in the video, like they thought I wasn't gonna be shit because of my past,
Wow.
what does
Mhm.
that mean? Right?
Mm. Good
Like,
question.
did you think that he was your only way out?
He taught her that. No, because people got to remember how deep and intense grooming is. And this is 16 years of grooming. I think she's two in the picture. I swear, she looks like, so she's been groomed for a long time. So
Exactly.
everything she knows is what he taught her.
That part. Hey, Mr. Brooks, what's going on? Karen, you should come over here to the YouTube side of things so you can join the conversation on YouTube. Um, but Mr. Brooks is in Florida. Mr. Brooks and Official Urban Therapist. I think Official Urban Therapist was airing some content with the mom's response.
Hmm.
Not that I'm real interested in what the mom had to say, but what did you find that the mother had to say for those viewers who are interested? Because I know that Shannon mentioned where was the mom and dad.
Hmm.
What is your overview of what the mother had to say, Official Urban Therapist?
Is he
But
coming on?
yeah, are you? And the link is dropped if you want to come on. I don't know if he has a show or not, but I feel like what we're seeing is the remnants of what happens in abuse situations,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very similar to Stockholm syndrome. And I talked about that a little bit yesterday, but more in depth to help you guys understand. Sometimes a person can be very abusive towards you, and what happens is if you're a person who has bonded with them
Mm-hmm.
for the better part of your entire life,
Mm-hmm.
it's quite possible that you're going to fall in love with them because that trauma bond is a stronger bond than a natural connection between two human beings that are not traumatized for whatever reason. And the way that I try to help people understand it is to think about the way the damsel in distress thing goes.
Mm.
If the woman were not in distress, if she weren't in need, she wouldn't be, clinging to this man that came and saved her. If she was in a very stable relationship and she had reliable friends, reliable supports, and things like that, she may have no need for that man. But put that same woman out there on the streets, homeless, without anything, without a leg to stand on, and that man, all he had to do was come and give her a piece of chicken.
Right. Because
She
his
probably
mom.
had no seasoning on it, Jesus.
No, because he met mom when she was little, supposedly. So he had the opportunity to take on this role of being the caretaker because mom is unavailable, right? And this was his opportunity to train her in such a way that he could abuse her, sexually abuse her, and she feel it's okay. Train her in such a way that if he emotionally and physically abuse her, that's okay, and that may be her fault if those things happen. But he got her a ring, which means, you know, this is how she believes he loves her, when in fact that's another form of him controlling her.
What does the mom say, Mr. Brooks?
Yeah.
Because it would be interesting. I guess it would be interesting to hear the background, but it's very clear that her mindset is one that has already been conditioned, and that she's kind of set on what it is she believes is right in this situation. It seems to me that her mindset is one of, well, he gave me a ring, and that looks like it's one of those things where you don't value yourself in the way that you should value yourself, because you value what everybody says is supposed to be goals. And that's just the end game, being married. You don't care how detrimental that marriage is to your emotional security, your physical security. You don't care about any of that.
Well, you are who you are based on who he tells you are.
Yeah.
That's who she is.
Because
she doesn't have a sense of self independent of what he said she is.
Yeah, because he's the only point of reference.
So there was probably some preparation. It'd be interesting to know what got that conversation going in the car. I know it was just sort of a bits and pieces of it, but it's interesting. And has he said anything at all?
No. No, he's not going to say anything, because we know what abusers do. We know the mindset. The mindset is, I've trained you to be my spokesperson so that the world can accept what we're doing, so it doesn't look like abuse. You see what I'm saying? It's that non-direct control cycle. And I'm telling you, when it was an intense session with me and that one client, because like I was just like, tell me more. Maybe want to give you more than 50 minutes. But it's interesting how we have all of these sessions, and I tell people every day, like, you guys talk about people who have a criminal history. You talk about registered sex offenders, but you don't know the half of it. Like if therapists were allowed to give the police all the information on all the sex offenders that we see on an everyday basis, and the people that have killed people on an everyday basis, if we were allowed to give that information out, that privilege prevents us from being able to do that. And
well, I've told you I had one who told me if he tells me anything, he'd have to kill me.
Yes.
I worked at a sex offender program for a long time. And he said, if I had to tell you what I did to kids, I'd have to kill you.
Right. And because in his mind, he doesn't understand the level of his privilege. Like, if there is no intended target, we can't release any information. Like, so you're literally binding us. You can sit there and talk about all the things that you've done that are illegal, that are unethical, whatever it is in your world that you believe it to be. But we're there to only sit with you and help you process whatever it is you're there to process from those events. We're not there from the judgmental lens, but a lot of times we do learn a lot of stuff from our clients, because being in the mind of the person that is a abuser, offender, I think is an amazing thing when you think about the science of humanity, the intrapsyche, things like that. So, but yeah, what do you think about? Didn't you air something, Official Urban Therapist, about what her mom had to say?
Yeah, I did. And I actually aired the whole video that she did on Facebook. Sorry about that. To be honest with y'all, I was expecting her mom to resume the same behavior as her, but I didn't expect for it to be that severe. Once when I viewed the video, and I want to share the video on my live, and it. I'm not gonna lie, it caught me off guard for real because it was that severe.
Can you share it on your end?
I can. Let me see. Hold up. Let me see. Let me see if I can work my magic. Give me 1 second.
So here was this little girl. Her mom used to beat her. Mom was in and out of jail. This young girl was in the streets early because the mom's jealous.
So I want to talk about that because I was going to talk about that anyway. So Kevin Samuels, I know, like, you know, Kevin Samuels is infamous for a lot of things, you guys, and a lot of people don't understand how instrumental his videos can be and how instrumental his content can be. Kevin Samuels' content oftentimes references a comparative competition between women of older ages and younger ages. And the reason that he and I don't care how many of you share this with them. The reason that he does this, and I have told you guys from the very beginning that when I started reviewing his content, I specialize in treating people like him. He is an abuser. The mindset of the abuser will play the appropriate age woman against the younger age woman in an attempt to manipulate the younger age woman to continue to be engaged in said behavior, because the key is jealousy. So why do you think when Kevin Samuels talks about married women giving advice or single women giving advice to younger women, modern day women, he discourages it because he doesn't want women to realize
it's not about it.
Right, because the older woman has lived experiences, and that wisdom that she shares could lead to the younger woman divesting from the process or moving into a more informed interaction with those people as a result of the wisdom gained by the older woman. So there is a science to this, and that's what I try to keep people get people to understand outside of the basic stuff. Okay, so I see you shared it.
And why would the mom be jealous?
Right.
That's not good.
This conversation is going to be roughly about 8 minutes long. She's going to do a whole rant, and she's just going to pretty much just confess her whole life story on this live and tell how much she doesn't like her daughter and the decisions that she made and all kind of crazy stuff.
Okay, let's hear it.
Find something safe to do.
Can y'all hear?
Yeah.
So this was it is, right? I'm gonna lie. So my daughter and Mike Huckabee married each other, right? I don't approve of that stupid ass cartoon ass shit, and that's what the fuck I said. I ain't even go to that fuck ass shit. Mike, you know I fucked your ass in 2017 in my apartment in the motherfucking LP when you was coming over there hard. Anybody who know me know when I stayed over, y'all seen that fat stank ass nigga the fuck over there. Okay? For a cell phone, $150. Okay? I was working at Family Dollar and I needed some extra money. So that's what that was about. I told this dumb, and then when she ran away when I stayed over there with my oldest daughter in Jacksonville, Mike was the main one talking about this is my goddaughter. Y'all help me find her. Y'all remember that shit? Y'all remember when I whooped Deja ass in that kitchen too? Like the 14-year-old little girl she was. Yeah, y'all remember that shit. So, with that being said, Deja's my last child. Her name really is Deja Miaya Evans. Like Davinia Evans, mine. She just got adopted in 2016, right before I came home. Okay, by Ashley Jackson, white chick. All right, so with that being said, Deja doesn't remember when she was little. She don't remember when she was with me. I lost my kids through DCF. A lot of y'all know I used to snort patties, sold a lot of motherfucking drugs, whooped a lot of ass, went to jail a lot. I was young and wild as fuck. I done apologized, and I'd be goddamn if I apologize any motherfucking more. But bitch, you said you married Mike because you need stability. Okay, so your son, your stepson, my little cousin, your little cousin, yeah, he didn't know whether to call you his godmama or his motherfucking his stepmama or his god sister. I say, is she your god sister or your stepmama or your cousin? He said, she my god sister and my cousin. No, my stepmama and my cousin. No, but he said my stepmama and my god sister. That's sad. So all this shit what Deja putting up, all this shit with Mike and all that, let me tell y'all motherfuckers something. Because first of all, I'm a real motherfucking witch, bitch. Because if I want to get you, I'll get you. Please don't sleep, okay? I ain't got to come and do nothing physical to you. I promise I will send the spirits to you, bitch. Now fuck with me. You, your husband, the family, I don't give a fuck. Bitch, I'm over here. You was just over here to this house yesterday talking about how much you love me, playing with me and jumping on me. But then all of a sudden you on motherfucking Facebook talking about, I'm at my real mama house. Bitch, take your ass over there. You need to be motherfucking Black Matthias, ho. Stay your fucking ass over there with the white people in the west side. Bitch, I'm east side. Fuck wrong with you. I'm born in Cape Charles, Virginia, on the Eastern Shore, raised in goddamn Gifford. That sound like Easter fuck to me. So, with all that being said, fuck all that shit. Fuck all that. I love my granddaughter, Noonie. I sure do. But before I kiss anybody's ass to spend any time with her, I'm done. I got one grandson. His name is Giovanni Josiah Robinson. He a little red bone, little cute little thing with dreads and be with his nanny all the time. My knee baby, that's my bestie. And I love her to death. Yes, she is my favorite child. And you know why? Because she say, yes, ma'am, please, may I know and thank you. And she respects the fuck out of me. Even through my fucking past addiction. Bitch, I ain't smoked powder or smoked cigarettes since 6/24/15. That's my clean date. How about that? Top that. And I ain't have to go to no motherfucking program to do that shit. I ain't have to go to jail, prison, none of that. I just got tired of losing. So I changed my life. So before I let any motherfucking body talk about, oh, Peaches this, Peaches that, and I ain't got AIDS. This pussy real clean. All my kids came from Sarah and it's tight as fuck. That's why y'all niggas stay in my shit. Let me tell you something. That's why my daughter's husband was deep begging me for my pussy for years. And when I finally let him get some of it, he tried to play me, so we fell out. That's why when he put her ass out, right 3 weeks before they got married, she came in the house. I had on a bathing suit and went to the truck, talked to the man in the back seat. Mike gonna tell me, you just want somebody to see that fat pussy. Don't you go with my daughter? Didn't you just bring her over here to get some more of her stuff that you brought over here? That me and my knee baby helped bring in this motherfucking house in the gardens? But did you just say that to me? See, I be quiet about a lot of shit because I don't be snapping. I don't be having time. But I got high blood pressure. I got high blood, and that shit came from hypertension. Because I go from 0 to 1,000,000 in 5 real fucking fast. I am Puerto Rican. I am Geechee mostly. I am Navajo. I am Bahamian. And I got a little Irish. So that means, yes, I am crazy. So stay in your motherfucking lane and leave me the fuck alone. Leave me alone. Because I ain't it. Leave me alone. Deja, whatever the fuck, Leilani, whatever the fuck, Young Jackson, Hucklebuck, whoever the fuck you are, stay out my motherfucking face, ho. Please don't ever speak to me again in life, and I mean that. I mean that. You were literally just fucking over here yesterday, hugging and kissing on me. Now you on Facebook yesterday talking shit. Man, look, girl, today. Talking cash shit. Don't do that. Don't do that. Find something safe to do, little girl. You 18. I'm not Killer B and all them little hoes you be arguing with. Cause Mike study fucking bitches and bringing diseases. When your ass is over here, your pussy was itching then. I had to bleach my shit out. Cause your motherfucking itching pussy motherfucking ass over here. Laying all that. You had to sleep with me, ho. And then 3 weeks later, you gonna get married. You dumbass bitch. It ain't my fault that you dumb as fuck. I'm sorry. I might have did start a little too much battle with with your ass. Okay, that's probably what happened. The fuck? Let me tell you, this right here. I don't do this. Y'all know I don't do this shit. I don't do this. But I gotta do this right here. Since you wanna go live and do dumb shit, I'm gonna stoop to your level. This goddess today, I'm just gonna be from the hood. I'm gonna stoop to your level today. So maybe somebody tell you that your mama see your mama going off about you and Mike show is. And for all y'all stupid motherfuckers talking about, oh, y'all in love, y'all just do what y'all do. Da 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 da. Y'all bitches dumb as fuck. That's that girl goddaddy. And we was fucking. So what the fuck? That's nasty as fuck. I would never fuck behind no family, no friends, no none of that. And then when I told your dumb ass, you still married the nigga. Stupid bitch. That's your fault. Now go run that. Go run that. Go tell that. Go talk about that. Fuck wrong with you. You right. You right, I'm big man, because I had her. Out of my motherfucking stomach. I had her. Somebody, Gary Hall. Yeah, I gave birth to this little dumb bitch. But because I'm tired of going to jail for selling fucking drugs and I decided to work, I didn't have the money to buy her shit. I didn't have her the money to go and get her stuff like me and Chris. When me and Chris Wilson was together, man, them kids had everything. It wasn't him.
How the way y'all looking? That's how the way I look when I first saw the video. No lie.
Yeah. Because that puts it in perspective about how she is the way she is.
Mm-hmm.
It's another layer. So, mom says she's got 5 years off drugs. She hasn't used in 5 years. She did have a cigar in her hand, so she said she hadn't smoked a cigar or nothing, but we can't hear you, Dr. J.
I said, I believe mom, she's definitely sober because she's speaking from a place of pain. We can see that there is a lot of pain there. And there is a tremendous amount of remorse for the difficulty that her children had coming up. So I think there are so many layers to that. And like I said, I mean, a lot of people, there are some people who mentioned that the girl was beaten, she beat her and things like that. Now, I do disagree with her methodology for trying to correct the behaviors. She should have been, but I'm going to also say that oftentimes these, young mothers in the hood, these situations, they use what they know works. And so they see the behaviors as indicative of disrespect versus indicative of something else going on with their child. Hypersexuality in teenagers is the first indication of sexual trauma and sexual abuse. And so we have to ask ourselves, we have to be mindful of the fact that kids they act out the events of our lives. So yeah, you going in and out of jail. I know plenty of people, you guys, that have gone in and out of jail. I've had several families and individuals with substance use history with the same story. And those daughters aren't going out there marrying somebody that their mother had sex with. Furthermore, they're not so far gone in the mind to allow a man to manipulate them to the extent where I believe her mother that he's had sex with her in the last couple of months.
Last week. Couple weeks ago.
I believe it because that's the reason that he was so quiet in that video. And that's what I'm telling you. Like, he's going to use her to say everything to ignite the flames in her mother so that now they are in a war over him. And he looks like a hot topic. He looks like the dude to be had, and what I was telling you guys earlier about that whole playing these younger women against the older women against the younger women thing. This is what your typical narcissistic male who is a sociopath does. Because this is how, when he is a sexual abuser, this is how he's able to do those things. He manipulates the situation and the subjects of his fancy in order for him to get the most out of the entire situation. So he sees that the mother goes for what she needs. And okay, she needs money from him. Well, you know what I mean? You got to give me something for that, right? You got to do something strange for a little piece of change.
Mm-hmm.
So
And he's
mom
used to
is
that.
yeah, and mom is just, she's accommodating. She's like, okay, I can do that. But the reality around all of this is that regardless of who this girl's bio dad is, she has a mother that loves her, and that's pain. A mother that's regretful for all of the stuff that she's done, and that love is what got her so pissed off at the fact that, okay, you've married this man that I disclosed to you I had sex with, and we had a sexual relationship history, and now you're engaged in a relationship with him. But it also explains, semi-explains the pattern of behavior of reluctance for somebody to file charges against him when she ended up pregnant with that child years ago when she was adopted by the white girl.
Right.
So white people will not invest themselves in black people problems. That's historically a fact. They don't want to infringe upon, especially when you got sibling and family visitation and stuff like that. They don't want to be a part of that. So for them, when this young girl
try to fix it, they'll fix it. They'll fix it. That's why they took her.
Exactly. So you're pregnant, and they don't know. They probably didn't even know that it was that man's baby. And she probably, more than likely, she didn't tell them, because I can guarantee you his ass to be under somebody's jail. The reality is, all of this has spiraled because her mother was ineffective in just being there. And by the time she got herself together to be there and got ready to get out of jail, her kids had already been adopted out, and that attachment trauma is already there. And it's festering, and he's capitalized on it. So you have to look at, the levels to it, as they say, but you also got to look at the way that all of this connects. And I know that it's easy for us to be judgmental and say, well, she's terrible because she was snorting powder, she was selling dope. Let me tell you something. Even if that woman was snorting a little powder, and I think that she was just being an asshole when she said I snorted a little powder, with too much powder when I was pregnant with her. Even if she was snorting powder,
she's telling us.
Yeah, she's a drug dealer, so she's not going to be snorting enough to where she's dependent. The thing is,
sometimes you became your own. What's the word? I mean, they use too.
Consumer.
Yeah, thank you. You became your own consumer. Yes, they do. A lot of the time.
No, not to the extent where you're arrested for. You go to jail for selling drugs. If you go to jail for selling drugs and they find you in possession with a lot of drugs, trust me, you're not consuming your product for the most of it. You're selling it for the most of it. The vast majority.
You're selling and using. Mom, on its clearly song, because mom is saying she's in recovery. Yeah, at least she hasn't been used. She hasn't used for about 5-6 years. So
I don't believe that she will anymore, because when a substance user makes a conscientious decision to stop, and even though people look at the difficulty in it and they think that people get stuck in it and they always relapse, when you make a conscientious decision to stop without having to be dried out, without having to go to rehab, that's on you. You finally found something larger than you, larger than life. The fact that this woman says, I love my granddaughter, I love this other daughter who respects me. She's a mother who realizes that she's made mistakes, and she still wants to be acknowledged for the woman that she is, because underneath all of it, she's still a mother. She had a lot of options. She could have just gone and gotten an abortion easily and continued to sell drugs, but she didn't. So there's something inside of her that kept her trying. You understand? And that anchored her back to the reality of, you're somebody's mom. So the fact that all of this pain, I hear her speaking when she's given this rendition in this rant that is definitely illicit content. You know what I mean? Explicit content. I feel like she's definitely a mother who is heartbroken over her daughter's decision underneath all of that surface stuff. So it's easy to get caught in the content. For me, it's all about the process. It's what I can see going on underneath the surface.
Well, yeah, there's probably most likely a level of shame, guilt, betrayal. Um, uh, Probably blames herself for most of what happened,
Yeah.
and probably what she's probably now seeing is generational issues. Because I guarantee you that some level, mom has been through what the daughter is acting out, independent of mom addictive behaviors. Because what you see in somebody who's got 5 6 years clean and continue to still act that way, lets you know she just stopped using, but she hasn't given up the behaviors
Okay.
of,
I
because
think that
that's the
I think
biggest
her
piece about
behaviors. Yeah, I think her behaviors are more cultural, like Mr. Brooks says. I think
yeah.
that has more
Yeah,
to do with where
yeah,
she's
yeah. It
from
is.
versus the substance use. I don't think that has anything to do with I think that's a separate entity.
Well, except that actually, with the culture of use comes with behaviors.
Yeah.
Giving up the drug doesn't mean you give up the behavior. That's why people get treatment. That's why they get sponsored. That's why they get a group and connect with, so that you learn what it is that make you start in using, so that you can change your behavior and be productive, so that you don't pick up. Mom still has the behavior of somebody selling drugs. The confrontational stuff. She's just not using, but
Mm-mm.
she's still got the behavior.
No, mom got hood chick
Well,
mentality.
well,
When
the
she
hood
said
chick,
not
but the
the
hood,
drug, before she ever started selling drugs, I can guarantee you this woman was kicking some ass,
I'm
taking
sure
names, all that.
all of that, all of that were prerequisites to her being the person that she became.
Potentially, I think that you're definitely right. I just feel like her energy is more from a place of she just is hood, like
Well,
period.
yeah, yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
just and I think that's part of her persona, period. And I feel like she's at the point where she's so fed up that she probably do want to put hands on her daughter. But then I don't think it has anything to do with jealousy. I think it has to do with
Oh, no.
feeling like you can't control what your daughter is
Mm-hmm.
now doing now that she's 18.
Yeah,
And then on top
well,
of that, she got adopted out, and
mhm.
legally she was adopted out to another parent caregiver. And then also that other part, feeling like you failed your daughter, so that
Yes,
internal
I'm
component.
responsible. I caused this. I have there's some the way that I did, because I wasn't available for my kids. This is what happened. So it's really
Exactly.
my fault. So there's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of shame. There's a lot of you know, I'm trying to think of what the word is, but there's a lot of
Internalized.
blaming, self blame, that
Yeah.
I created this. So I think this, clearly when I look at her, I look at the mom. Mom's probably been through a lot of trauma, just like this girl has.
Yep.
'Cause, like you said earlier, your kids act out the secrets in the
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Mom
The
went,
entirety of the system, like not just the family, but all of those people that are connected to you, with that drug abuse, what that
Mhm,
drug selling and drug use culture looks like
mhm,
to them on the outside looking in. Her
mhm,
daughter apparently is looking for stability where she's not going to get it. The first thing that stands out for me is that this is a man who, at some point and on so many levels, was responsible for teaching you what it is that you should expect out of another male in your life. But the moment you move out of your mom's house because you're pregnant,
mhm.
right, with his child, he makes you get a job. So he doesn't take care of you, even though he is the thing, the element, he is the constant that has
Mhm.
disrupted your placement yet again in your life, and you're not able to see that. Like that's how good he is at the process of grooming
Mhm.
and
Of
securing
being a
a
manipulator.
continuation of
Mhm.
his, his self being in that cycle. You know, it's just it's so many levels to how disgusting all of this is.
It's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's
Absolutely.
it's it's disgusting. I don't see it as disgusting. I see it as incredibly sad, because these each one of them are trapped in behaviors that they probably were taught from really small. Neither of them actually ever learn. I don't know. It'd be interesting if you ever have conversation with dad and got an interest about his life story. You'd hear some of this stuff happen to him too. We know some of this stuff probably happened to mom, and you've seen it coming in the daughter. And I know for a fact those little kids in the picture, right, with standing next to dad, are
That's
going. One of them, if not all of them, are going to experience what the sister, wife, whatever she is to them, has experienced. It's going to be generational stuff because nobody has
sister,
got.
wife, whatever. She all of it. Sister,
I
wife,
don't know what she is to them,
all
but
of
you are going to see generation of abuse. So there's never going to be a time where anybody's healthy enough to figure stuff out.
You know that Dr. J, you mentioned about Kevin Samuels, and this is the reason why we're adamant about the behavior of Kevin Samuels, and we be trying to create a lot of accountability conversations based on that because he constantly project that it's okay for a grown man to date
Yep.
a child.
Yep.
That is socially acceptable. Not
Yep.
understanding the behavior part about that. Furthermore, not understanding that there are many people out there, especially men out there, who are just
Predators,
as
just like that.
predators out there as well. Like I had did another video Saturday similar to this, but it was like way worse than this situation. But they're out there, they're literally out there, but they projecting this Kevin Samuels narrative for this what they call it, the manosphere narrative. They projecting this and saying that this is socially acceptable when it's not. It is not at all. It
Not
is
in
not
this
cool.
society.
But see, that's the thing. In the Black culture, there have been sexual predators have more leeway than we give them credit for. A lot of people don't understand how sexually predatory behavior started in like the white culture in America because it was such a silent thing. But in the Black community, it's always been a prevalent. It's not silent. It's out there. That cousin, uncle, so whoever, granddaddy touched so and so, and it's okay. It's okay because grandmother was also touched like that. Mom was also touched like that, but we pressed on. So you know better now than to wear those shorts. You know better now than to wear that shirt. You know you have breasts now, so you should be covering that up. These are things, these are constant narratives in the Black family that have to be acknowledged. And I'm so sick of people saying, okay, the mothers are responsible. The mothers are responsible. No, they're not. The man is the solution because he is the beginning of everything. He's the head of all things. So if the man starts the behavior and then he normalizes that this is an acceptable behavior from him because he is the head and he has no sense of control, that is what will continue this cycle. So it has nothing to do with the mother being responsible. It has more to do with the mother feeling indebted to her situation. If the men would step up and then decide, okay, you know what, I'm going to start holding my brethren accountable because this isn't of me. So this isn't reflective of me. And if I'm a Black man in the Black culture, this shouldn't be reflective of Black men in the Black culture. Right? So I'm going to be the change that I would like to see because I would love to believe that there are more men out there with a level head that think like me on the same level of the moral plane that I have. Just that part.
Part of your rebuttal, I do agree with. I do agree with that the man is responsible because he is the head. He's the leader. He's the one who sets the motion of the family dynamic. But however, at the same time, when that man is out of his place as a man and he's resembling these type of behaviors and the mother is allowing it to happen instead of stepping up into her role as a mother to not only protect herself but the house as well, she is held just as much as accountable as that man too, because she's making a choice to allow it to happen for whatever reason it is that she's allowing it to happen.
So
it's not that she's allowing it to happen. She is part of the abuse process.
Exactly.
All abuse happens around a grooming pattern. You groom before you abuse. I mean, grooming is abuse. So everybody around gets the grooming. And when we start to think about, well, I am responsible because I'm the mom, so what's happened to my daughter is my fault. You've been taught to believe that. That's what the groomer does. Tells you it's your fault when his nasty, stinky stuff gets in. It's your fault because you're the mother.
Yeah,
And what that does is takes him off the accountability list.
it
That
does.
he is the one who trained everybody to believe his behavior is normal.
And the black
Yeah.
And I know what you say, Mom. If Mom knows, she should really address it with him. Look, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. In that perspective, this one saying I agree with y'all on that for that point, because basically what he's doing, he's being narcissistic. He's trying to control her, and I get that part. But the point that I'm also making too is that when she's aware of that, when the mother's aware of that, she's aware that her husband or boyfriend, whoever it is, who's the who's the abuser that's doing this, and she's aware of that, and she's not taking personal actions to take a personal accountability to protect herself and her children, that she is just as much as accountable as the abuser, because she's made a conscious choice to make it happen instead of making the choice to get out of it. Period.
because she was never taught how to
Yeah, that's
get
what I was
out of
just
it. The
about to
abuser doesn't teach you to get out. He teaches you that if this stuff gets out, it's your fault,
There you go.
not his.
Yeah,
So you
which
have to understand
yeah,
this.
which that's true also, but also
Yeah.
but still that still come back to the point that it comes to a point in time where
Yeah.
she had to recognize that
Right.
he's the abuser. She had to recognize that this is a situation that I need to not only get myself out, but I need to protect my child and get them out as well. So if she doesn't make that choice, knowing that that's in her mind and she's thinking that, and she chooses not to do that for whatever reason it is, whether it's what she fear for her life or whatever the case may be, she is just as much as accountable for allowing herself and the children to be in that situation, because ultimately she's making that choice. That's the point that I'm making about it.
Yes, I hear.
So-
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I hear she does have some choice. She has a choice
So-
in it.
So what I hear you saying is that she has a choice in the matter. But what I'm trying to articulate is that abuse is a systemic thing, and especially in situations where you see children have been groomed, there is a process. So coming from the mind of the abuser, because that's what I treat these people on a day-to-day.
Mhm.
They have a system. I don't treat the people that have gotten caught. I treat the people, this is their way of life, and they've never gotten caught, and they've lived this life for 40 plus years. In their minds, there is a system, and this is how they groom the system so that they feel less than adequate to even make that move, to make that call, because
Yeah,
the
agreed.
idea is predatory behavior. So if you go into a situation, to kind of explain it, when you go into a situation and you're looking for dinner, right? As a man, if you're a hunter, are you going to go after the most difficult prey to take down, or are you going to go for the easiest prey to take down,
Right.
knowing that you have a limited amount of time and blah blah blah?
But by nature, you're gonna go for the one, the easiest prey. By
Exactly.
nature.
So the man who is an abuser by nature, innately, he's been placed into that cycle because he's either been prepared and groomed because his ancestor, his grandfather, his father did it, because many of those men are the ones where they come from an intergenerational cycle of it. And so when they go out and they pray, they're looking for the vulnerable woman. They're looking for the woman who looks like, okay, she's out here to get her money. She's had a hard life, difficulty. She might be pregnant at the time. She's an ideal prey. So he's not going to go after a woman that is independent, that's been married. Those kinds of things are going to make it difficult for him to deconstruct those realities that she's already been raised with, because those are sound sense of self principles. So they go for the one, and they don't even know that this is what they're really doing. But they go for the ones that are the most vulnerable, because then those people are going to think very much like you think, because that's a natural way for human beings to think when they're not clinical. They're going to think on the surface level. They're not going to think systematically. So they're going to say, it's my fault that this happened. If I go and I do this, it's still going to come back on me. No matter how long it took for the young lady in the polite case.
Yeah,
to make-
and that I understand what you're saying, Dr. J, but
Right.
that's not what I'm talking about, though. I'm not talking about placing the whole for accountability on the woman. That's not what I'm saying. I agree 100% what you and Miss Suzanne is saying in this situation, I agree with you on that. The only point that I'm making is that when that woman when she coming to realization that she know that this dude is a predator, without shout out, she know. She have to make the move to protect herself and her children. Like the same situation with the where you saying the lion hunting the prey and stuff, right? What do the prey also do? They also become aware of that the lion is in the area too. So they start alerting each other that our level will eventually scatter off. The only ones that don't scatter off is either the weakest ones or the one who isn't aware, which that makes y'all point of what y'all talking about as well. But at the same time, it also make my point too. What I'm saying too is that once you become conscious aware of the danger, then it's your responsibility to do whatever it takes to get out of this situation. And that's the point that I'm making. But if you don't do that, knowing that impending danger is there, then you're held accountable for that.
Well,
for the end result.
Well, but society holds them accountable for it. But the thing about she may not know what options. And I was sharing this with Dr. J. I knew someone who, her father molested her, had 2 pregnancies with him. He broke her hand, and I was this girl age, 18, and I told my mom. I said, "This is what, what the girl told me." And to my mom, we know the family all our lives. My mom went to talk to them. Like, how could you abuse your daughter, right? And the mom says, "Well, I'm not going to leave him because if I leave him, I have to work." She's never worked in her entire life. She's been with him since she was like 13, 14. So she's never worked. So the concept of, I know work, but she doesn't have that real concept in her head of what work looks like. So, but he's taught her that. You don't need to work. He was an engineer, so she didn't need to work. Took care of her, kept her in this place that even when she thinks she could leave, she couldn't leave because there wasn't anything else she could do. And this is, and I know you talked, and that the accountability, she knew what happened because she was part of helping the daughter get rid of the baby. But she was never, ever in a position to think about what I need to do if I leave. Yeah. But you're right. Some people do leave, like the woman who packs their kid in the middle of the night and they go to a domestic shelter or somewhere. They do make that decision. But a lot of the times they make that decision because there's somebody there saying, this gotta happen. Let me help prepare you to make this happen.
Yeah. Because the idea is the idea though is to prey on the person without adequate supports.
Right.
And that the outcome can be one where your victim eventually falls in love because you are the savior, right? And that's the way you keep them vested. And the interesting thing is, I think that a lot of people miss maybe that her mother mentioned her daughter told her that she was getting married for security. If this is what her daughter told her, and I believe the mom wholeheartedly, the thing is, she's married him for security. She showed you the ring out of her own mouth. She's saying, my husband and I are going to be all right? He taught me how to work. He got me a job. So now he's taking care of me. He made me get a job to help take care of him and our baby that he made. Me when I was 15 years old. He created it when I was 15. I'm pregnant and moving out at 16. And he tells me to get a job. So it says that I see security as just a roof over my head so that I can get myself together and be able to provide for my child, not our child. But I'm trying to do what I can to provide for my child so that I may break the cycle. What she doesn't realize is that she's perpetuated the cycle because she's had a daughter. God forbid. So the cycle is going to repeat itself. And now he's probably already imprinting and grooming his own baby with her. It's all very disgusting. Like you can tell that the children in the situation in that picture are not only uncomfortable, but confused. Like the mother said, her mom said it. So all of the things that we made out of, looking at the photos and stuff like in the beginning of this video, all those things are confirmed by her mom's own admission of what it is that's happening in the aftermath of this this abomination, because that's
The
what it
little
is.
boy couldn't tell if that's his mom, his auntie, his whoever.
Absolutely.
He was confused.
Yeah, it's like, oh, she's all of it, I guess. I don't know. I'm confused. I don't know what to call her. Girl. Hey.
But we also have to be real careful in when we talk about the person who is being groomed as not putting them into a victim stance, because they're already victimized. So when we start to say that they ought to know better, and if they didn't get out, it's their fault, that's really making them a victim. And they may have heard that from other people when they went up to and said, this Negro is no good, I gotta go. And they were like, oh, people start giving you advice about why you need to stay with him.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Because the thing is, it's easy to be on the outside looking in and right. not have a clear understanding, because oftentimes when we're doing these discussions, you guys, I talk to you guys on a surface level because I understand that that's what you guys mostly relate to. But I want you guys to understand the clinical implications of what abuse cycles look like and how detrimental they can be for the average human psyche. So it doesn't matter how intelligent you may think you are. Abusers who have done this for the length of their lives, and this is their way of life, this is kind of what they do. This is the life that they live. So they are the expert. So
they master it.
Yeah. If you've not learned by now that you should probably be listening to them, like I've given you guys the inside of the abuser's mind today, coming from a direct client of mine that literally this is his life. This is what he's been doing all of his life. So it doesn't get any realer than that. I have a ton more like him. But the thing is, in navigating the difficulties that he has sitting with some of the things that he's done, he's able to identify that there are levels that make this behavior acceptable for them, for the mindset that they have, right? And this right here, this man overstepped the boundaries even for I was like, well, now.
And urban therapists, the work we would do with someone with the victim is to teach her how to be responsible so that she can make those decisions about her and her kids, or for her to understand what's happening. And because we are perceiving she understands, she knows that they're getting abused. That's a normal behavior for her, because it's not about the surface that she understands it on a level of what it really is. It's right. Normal for her. So our job was to teach them how to learn to recognize that those signs and symptoms are not healthy, and what are things to do to get out if they want to get out, or to confront, or to address whatever the perpetrator or whoever is involved. But that takes work. It doesn't just happen because they've been so conditioned. And he's one of the many people who've conditioned her, because he's not probably the first guy that mom got into. Mom got into substance behavior because she was trying to cover up some stuff. Yeah. Deep stuff. And drug was the way to deal with it.
It's the attachment trauma. It's just so much of it. And for me, because I don't work much on the surface level teaching those outside the coping strategies per se, but as I'm delving through and helping people find ways to navigate, discover where the deep-seated trauma is and motivates those emotions, feelings, behaviors, what happens oftentimes is that they discover that there's more than that one event, right?
Oh, yeah.
There have been several events over the course of time they hadn't recognized were actual traumas. They hadn't recognized, contributed to the way that they think in the here and now. And then they start to recognize on their own that I do have the means to get out. It just requires that I do something else here, where I've self-sabotaged here for the sake of the trauma, because that's what happens.
Because the trauma keeps you alive.
Yeah.
It keeps you not having to remember that deep, deep stuff. Because if you do, you might kill yourself.
Exactly.
Or someone else.
Yeah. So it's just so many layers there. And the first thing that stands out, even for both of them, is that they're
Yeah.
deeply hurt. Like you can see through the way that they articulate their points of views that both of them are suffering, and they don't even know why they're so angry. They can't identify why they're so angry, why, but they know that there's something there. They just think it's the stuff on the surface. You see what I'm saying?
The mom think the daughter, betrayed her, and the daughter think the mom was never there, and they probably both right. But it's much deeper than that.
I don't think she wouldn't have said anything, because for this mom, he was giving her money. She just said he was.
Yeah, but he paid her for
He was
sex.
paying her. Yeah, but he was still paying bills for her. She said that she just slept with him in 2017 again. So you got to think about it. Yeah, she'd been sleeping with him, so he still was paying the mom's bills or whatever. She said something because her daughter has decided to take this little shenanigan a step further and get married. You know what I mean? That's the reason she said something, because inside of the mom, that's when it's like, she was having her little fun. That's one thing. You gonna get married to him? Oh, you no. Like, pump the brakes. He thought it was cute. And that's I've learned that that's more of a young mother thing. These modern day young mothers, like under 40, I think that in their minds, they think that their daughters, because of this type of behavior, I told you guys, right? They think that their daughters are their friends. You heard her say that her other daughter is her bestie, the knee baby. That they think that they're supposed to be their friends instead of being their parent, because they don't know what a parent looks like, because they've divested from the parenting principles of their parents, because they feel like, oh, they were too harsh.
Or their parents, what they're going through now, their parents have been through, so their parents never taught them what parenting looks like. Or what even a kid looks like.
They divest from the ideas of their parents altogether because they got an ass whooping.
Or the parent wasn't available. Never was available, too. You get yelled at when they were around. And ass whooping, too.
Yeah, it's possible, but, that's what I hear for the vast majority of them. They think that poor parenting equates to, oh, well, they beat my ass, right? But it's okay for you to take that one from your parents. But you won't take all of the rest of the solid value systems and taking your kids to church, all of those other things. So I don't know. I just, I want you guys to understand that the cycle of trauma looks extremely more complicated underneath the surface. But either way, this right here is even an abomination to the culture of people that are abusers. I just don't understand.
And and for me, the biggest I'm really concerned for this young girl. I'm even more concerned for the younger kids.
Yeah,
because of who he is. She's gonna get old real quickly, as the other little girl in the picture.
She already has
becomes a little bit older.
So what do you see?
So he's got two of them.
Right. So what do you see in this picture? Look at this little girl's face. The one next to her and the one next to him. What do you see?
The one who he's hugging and we don't know where his hand is, right?
Right.
That picture. Sorry. Because he's probably already testing them out already. The other one won't even keep her eyes open. The little boy looks absolutely scared. It's not just that I have to take a picture and I don't want to. No.
So let's look at some of these comments. What are you guys saying? I'm
worried about those two girls.
So Mr. Brooks says this is normal in Fort Pierce, Florida. The only difference is if he knew her the whole time they were growing up. But in that city, they get the girls in middle school, and I can believe it. But
there was a picture of him holding her when she was like 1.5 or 2. So he's known her all her life.
Yeah. So was it your opinion of what the stepfather husband is doing?
Shoveling.
Look, the stepfather husband. We're gonna call him the stepfather husband, y'all. What is the stepfather husband doing for a living? Somebody else tell me what y'all think.
He doesn't have to work if she's working.
Right.
She's working.
Yeah, that's probably his mindset. What do you think, official urban therapist?
I don't have nothing to say about that.
Because
So,
he's not hungry. Look at him. He doesn't look starving.
Oh, he ain't missing no meals.
All three of
yeah,
them.
yeah.
And
She
snacks.
she did another. She did video showing that she was cooking for him. I think it was either a video or showing that she was cooking for him.
Okay, I don't know why.
Oh, God. Rush says the mom needs to be held accountable too.
What was the statement before? Oh, okay,
I think we'll be seeing more of this as more young girls say working 9 to 5 is ghetto. I agree, but you know, young men and women are both doing that. Why? Why do you think that that's kind of like the modern day, you know, person's understanding that working
So they
adult?
don't want to work 9 to 5.
Yeah,
They want to make money, but they don't want to work.
fast money.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, ladies, I'm just get ready to step on down that you invited me up. Share each other perspectives, but gotta get a night too. So
You know we love you, bro.
Definitely.
We love you.
Thanks for coming on. Tell everybody where they can find you as you exit. I'm just going through these comments.
y'all can find me everywhere. Everywhere. Literally me everywhere on social media you can find me. Like literally now.
That guy said now he's in the category that say Google me. Google me,
Yeah.
look me
I
up.
kid you.
Urban therapist.
Hey, I kid you not. If you put in your Google, put in the official urban therapist, I guarantee that I'll be the first resort to show up.
That guy.
You are. Because I'm good with you. You are.
Broke
And
the
that's a good
I'm-
thing.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on it to have a Wikipedia.
good
To
guy.
have a wicked what? We missed that.
A Wikipedia of me.
Oh, you need your Wikipedia. When is the movie coming out?
I know, right?
Yeah.
But bye, y'all. Hey, I appreciate y'all. Take it easy.
Take care.
Definitely. Take care. So I think Rush had a very interesting point about single mothers doing a better job at vetting the men that they bring into their lives. I did one about that. I talked about that yesterday a little bit too, but I do feel like single mothers need to do a better job at vetting, but I think also they need to have a space for them to learn the proper vetting techniques and what they need to be looking for in a male suitor as they're bringing new people in their lives when they do have daughters or sons, because both are vulnerable populations when we're talking about abusers. The man, Godfather, I don't know what he do, but them old ninjas has been doing it for years. I think Rush was disagreeing with the fact of the abuser situation. See, she bought that weirdo in her daughter's life, so it's her fault. Okay.
So, yep, she brought him in her life. That was her choice.
Yeah.
And he saw opportunity.
So it says that's why she said there were other girls he has. Yeah, you know what, Mr. Brooks, you hit the nail right on the head when you said that, okay? I was wondering about that, and I was wondering how many people were going to kind of zoom in on the fact that she said that. He probably fucked your mammies. You know what I mean? All this stuff. Like, so for you to say that about the man that is your husband, the man that
sitting next to you.
Right. Like, what are you saying? You're celebrating his promiscuity? His hotivity? So, okay, I guess he has children all over town. And he probably does, Jenny. Yeah, she the guy's sister cousin for sure.
He molested all over town, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, I read that one already. Well, he has an arrest for trafficking cocaine. I can believe it because that's how mom met him in that same life, even though she wants to. And it's interesting to me, she wants to divest from the mom and put her out on Front Street for the same lifestyle, right? And the man that you just married is in the same lifestyle.
She probably was selling for him.
Definitely. We got to thank the official urban therapist for coming up and bringing the video of the mom and her response into the conversation. They say it's ghetto because they finding sugar mamas that say I got the PS5 and sugar daddies that say I got their Social Security. How the sugar daddies gonna have Social Security if they don't even work? If you don't get Social Security if you out there selling drugs. But yeah, so I want to thank you guys for coming on and for taking this time to sit with us. Hopefully you learned something that you can take back and you can apply to your understanding of the way that abusers work and their intrapsyche, but also what the abuse pattern looks like if you guys are related to people that are stuck in that cycle with someone else, and ways that you guys can advocate for the protections of young women and children. Even though oftentimes, I kid around with you guys and we may talk about the touchy topics and, things like that. And it may be a very much a laughing matter. For me, it's really important for us to take light of and highlight how this type of behavior is a detriment to our future. And we need to do something actively that says that we recognize that and we want to be a part of the change that allows us to move in a more productive manner. So if we're going to be more productive, if we're going to advocate for the protections of our young people and advocate for a bright future for, us even, then we have got to start speaking up when we see things like this. And we've got to be the people that hold other people to the bar and not only just speak up and say something, but do something. So get law involved.
And I think, Dr. J, I'll just say it anyway. If you suddenly realize that you are beginning to have attraction for young folks, please reach out, not to young folks, but know that that's not a normal feeling to have. It's not like that's a cute little baby. That's a cute little baby that I want. That's very different.
Yeah.
To be, to recognize that that's how you feel and reach out to some professional to be able to help support you so that you don't have to go over that edge. Because what happens is your stuff gets triggered when you see a kid that you feel attracted to. That might have happened to you. And we say this so that you can learn to make that connection.
Right. Because the other part is this, like I've had several male clients come in because they had, and this is crazy. I want to share this because this is the part that really breaks my heart, because in our community, we don't see too many sexual abusers or sexual predators or potential sexual predators come into therapy because they're concerned about those types of thoughts. But I've had several men come in from the Hispanic population, the white population, African population, outside of America, people that are from Germany, Russian men. I've had several men come in from every other culture of men that'll say, I had this thought and I'm wondering, is that normal? I saw my teenage daughter in a bra the other day, and it made me feel uncomfortable because I started to get an erection. I saw my wife in her when I met my wife, right? So there are some behaviors. There are some, I'm not going to lie, there are some thoughts, even though they may seem extremely questionable, some thoughts are normal, and some responses of your body are also normal. But for me, it's the fact that Black men won't think twice. Like, is this something wrong with me? Like, is there something wrong with my thought process? Is there something wrong with the way that I'm looking at something or viewing something? Is this inappropriate? The fact that they appropriate their actions and they think that it's okay to blame it on what the girl had on, what the mom did.
Was too short.
Right.
Top was cut too low. She bent over when I was looking at her.
Yeah.
Or like put her legs up.
Or she
sat on my lap.
Yes, all of that. Like these are the things that really make it disturbing for me. And it's very disheartening to even sit with that as a truth. But I just sometimes I'm just curious as to what other clinicians are seeing people that come in that look like us that are asking these questions. Hey, is this an issue? Like, is this something where that qualifies for really significant symptoms of a disorder that says that I have a problem, right? So I would like to, you know, caution you guys as women from inviting men into your life until you fully vetted their personality potential. Okay. And that's before you even start having kids. Personality potential is looking at the characteristics in a man, a woman, whomever, and the same thing goes for men, okay? You're looking at the personality characteristics that might lead to predatory behavior. Some of those things, even though on the surface it may not be anything, but some of those things may be a person that prefers you as their partner to be completely shaved in your pubic area, if that's their preference, and then they make a very hard conversation of it all, right? And a hard non-negotiable, like this is an inflexible. I want all of it shaved, right? I like it naked, right? The fixation on your private area, the way that they view it, because women have these same predatory behaviors. When you're looking at a man, if it's a woman looking at you and you're a man and she's like, no, I want all the hair off everything, off your shaved, off of your chest, off of your face, you got to start asking yourself, what's that about? And start having that conversation with her, because here's the thing, there may be predatory behaviors within her and she doesn't even know it. And you've unveiled that top off of Pandora's box where she's locked away, where she was traumatized as a child and now thinks it's okay, acceptable, and she needs to be with another child to continue the cycle, because it's an intracycle thing. It's not a thing where you notice on the surface that this is a conscientious thought. It's subconscious. So start asking those questions, male and female. Ask yourself if this person has healthy sexual behavior. Are they hypersexual? Right? If a person has started having sex at a really young age, ask questions around that. If they've had a history of sexual trauma, ask questions around, hey, have you ever seen a therapist? Have you ever gone to counseling? Have you ever, ask those questions that will lead you to understand the way that they see sex and its appropriation to relationships, but also appropriation to situations. Right? Start, asking the questions and just being more curious and having some candid conversations with one another, because here's the thing, nobody's out there to judge you, but it's important to know what's there. Sit and have a conversation with a therapist. I prefer, I'm going to say that I prefer you guys to find your trauma-informed clinician, because a trauma-informed clinician knows to, explore those core factors that contribute to and consider trauma, a misdiagnosis and your process, so that we can understand, okay, this is why this is happening. And this is where we need to start to unveil the layers. And it's really important you do that, even if you just go in for one biopsychosocial and one treatment plan session. That's it. Just do the initial phase, because at least then you know what's there. You have confirmation as to what's there. You can make the decision to go back in for treatment at a later date. Or not. But at least make yourself knowledgeable of what's there and what could be there potentially. Okay. Anything else you got before we close out?
I mean, I just think, if you and your partner is having conversation about, your partner wants you to do something sexually that you feel uncomfortable with, have a conversation about that rather than do it, but you don't want to. If you feel uncomfortable, say something.
Yeah, and learn how to be sex positive and body positive too. Because the more we communicate about what it is that our bodies do and don't like, the more familiar we are with what the process of sex should entail and what it shouldn't entail for us. It's not about what society is making appropriate. It's about what you feel comfortable with. Because a lot of people are doing a lot of things sexually, and at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, am I into that? You know, because everybody else is doing anal sex. Do I need to be doing anal sex? Because everybody else is doing oral sex. Do I need to be doing oral sex? Like, just because the one person is doing something, or the vast majority of society even, doesn't mean that you have to put yourself in that pot, you know? So that is all that I got, you guys. I'm so happy that you guys sat through the show, and super happy that Susanna decided to come on and have this conversation, because I feel like more clinicians have got to get together. We've got to start having these conversations on the clinical level with you guys, so you understand the clinical implications behind trauma and that whole abuse cycle, because it's so much more there than meets the naked eye, you know, and it's better for us to understand the behavior so that we can move to a place that allows us to heal these behaviors in our culture.
Yeah. And, you know, and I think, you know, just to say for my last things, the things that we talk about, sometimes when we get up the air, it may resonate, not today, not tomorrow, but during the course of the week. Something hits you and you wonder why you feel the way you do, why you think the way you do. It may have something to do with the conversation that you hear us talk about, because that's what happens. We talk about topics that are not that we talk about stuff that people don't want to talk about, they don't want to feel about. But when you stay and you listen and you go away, your unconscious becomes conscious. It bubbles up in a day or two, and it makes you feel uncomfortable. It makes you like, why am I feeling it? Why am I crying? Why do I want to not deal with folks? It might be because something got resonated with you. And you reach out to someone. You reach out to a professional to let them know. So I think it's important for people to know that the things we talk about are heavy stuff that really resonate with what's going on for a lot of folks. And it's important to know you'll feel kind of bad sometimes in a couple of days or two, like, oh my God, what's going on?
Right. And Mr. Brooks, he made a really good point. I really hope that somebody in their area has a couple of clinicians that have practices in Florida, and I also practice in Florida. But if you know that they're looking for someone and they do need free help, if they can afford help, have them go to clinicalcompetency.org, and somebody on that site, because we have more clinicians coming that are going to have listings there. But we do have a listing for help for clinicians that are available for teletherapy and in-person sessions. So have them go there, and then say that I referred them, and we'll get them somebody, because really that's really what matters to us. You know, the healing component. It has to start somewhere. I feel like we've got to do our part to make sure that our people are well if we want a secure future for our people.
Yeah, we get past the stigma of grandma saying just wash it off and forget about it.
Yep.
You don't forget about it.
So that's all I got, you guys. Big shout out to the chat. You guys were extremely engaged. You definitely asked some thought-provoking questions, had a lot to add to the conversation. Again, I want to thank the Official Urban Therapist for coming on to the panel, and for also sharing with us the video content of the mother's perspectives of things. I just feel like this is just all bad. But, you know, everything that looks bad on the surface, every situation that's bad happens for a reason. And sometimes we have no idea why. But we have to be curious enough to find the resourcefulness in the experiences and learn the lessons that we need so that we can apply them to the next phase of our life and move there in a matured space. So that's all I got, you guys. I'll be seeing you guys later. Bye.
Whole life can't put me in a box. I redefine any definition you got. I am the tiger, I'm making steps to the top. The flames, I rip it up, you just gotta hand me the rock. Take a seat, you cannot stand it. All I know, the flow harder than a Scotch bunny. Don't try studying me, you cannot manage. This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon. This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.